Hey, sports fans! PBnZ Sports Chaos. PB, guess what time it is? It's playoffs, or as our friend of the show, Jim Mora, likes to say, playoffs? We're talking about the playoffs? Come on! Thanks, Jim Mora. Hey, NBA, NHL playoffs start. We got the play-in games on Tuesday. NHL starts tomorrow night. And we're going to give you a little preliminary thought on what we think about the NFL schedule that was revealed on the big show Wednesday night on ESPN. First, though, PB, I got a quick little 2-minute drill for you. Hey, last weekend, what were you doing? What were you watching? Anything good?
Last weekend, man, I can't remember what I had for breakfast this morning.
I'll tell you what, I'll save you the exercise. There was nothing better on than the NCAA beach volleyball tournament. Women's USC UCLA met in the finals, and I got to tell you, there was clearly no better talent on the beach that day than those girls from both those teams. USC won the whole thing. Congrats to the USC Trojans. Good job there.
Hey, I'll tell you what, though. I got a beach volleyball court literally 100 yards from my house. I walk by it every morning, and I'm watching beach volleyball. It's pretty fun.
I was very much entrenched. I watched it from Friday night through Sunday. Hey,
Nice.
Bob Baffert, he won the Kentucky Derby with Medina Spirit. Apparently, Medina Spirit had a little Medina called funky called Medina in her or him. Tested positive, right? Now maybe won't be in the Preakness on Saturday. Tomorrow, we don't know yet, but Bob Baffert suspended. PB, does this guy have a little bit of a problem training horses? He's had 5 positive tests over the last year and a half, 2 years, right?
Yeah, and I don't know if he's making excuses. I mean, if the vet of that horse doesn't know that they're applying cream for a dermatitis condition that has enough steroids in it to test positive, then there's something going on there. So they're saying it's that. Who knows what it could be? There's so much stuff going on behind the scenes in that sport that it's just hard to tell. I mean, it's fun to watch. I can't wait to watch the Preakness this weekend, but you sometimes just question the whole thing, right?
Hey, first of all, we had baseball players with PEDs back in the home run era. Now we got horses. Everybody cheats apparently these days. Hey, MLB, real quick, PB. Tampa Bay, they must love the oldies because they got TB12, the oldest player in the NFL. And then last night, the oldest player in baseball, Rich Hill, pitches for the Tampa Bay Rays. So far, they got 2 of the 4 oldest players in sports. I don't know. Does the Tampa Bay Lightning have anybody in their 40s?
I don't know. Maybe they'll pick up Chara next year.
Oh, could be. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know, man. Hey, speaking of baseball, Rich Hill beat the Yankees last night, but the Yankees got a problem. They got a big COVID issue. 8 people are out with COVID right now after they've been totally vaccinated, which blows my mind. And one of them who's been vaccinated also already had COVID once, Gleyber Torres. I mean, go figure. How does that happen? I have no idea. We'll see. Hey, our beloved Red Sox still hanging in first place, brother. Still hanging in first place. I'm sorry. Yankees made a run, though. They're like 13 and 3, I think it is, 13 and 4 in the last 18 games. They're playing really well. They came from last to second place. We'll see. But I got to admit, I did not see this coming with the Red Sox, but JD, Xander, and Raffy, they're like the big 3 in baseball right now. Those guys are unbelievable. And Verdugo, how do you say it? Alex Verdugo, he's actually playing very well as well. Second year now with the Sox. He's really making a name for himself, right?
Yeah, I've never questioned their offense. I think their offense will be there from the beginning till the end. I really do. They'll go in their small slumps or whatever, but like I told you, my big question is the sustainability of that pitching staff, really.
And they got 3 guys who right now are doing well, including Nick Pivetta. Who saw that coming? 5-0. Hey, speaking of baseball, A-Rod is now a business partner of the ownership of the Minnesota Timberwolves. I have one favor of Big Papi. Please go and talk to your bra, A-Rod, and ask him to do what Kevin McHale did for his bra, Danny Ainge, back in 2007. Trade Karl Towns to the Celtics right now for Jason Tatum. We don't need Tatum. I would rather have Karl Towns tomorrow. And by the way, as friend of the show, Taylor Swift says, we are never, ever, ever getting to the title together with Tatum. Ever. Thank you, Taylor Swift. We appreciate it. Hey, a little more NBA talk before we talk about the playoffs. PB, Miami, your team now down there. Udonis Haslem, he played his first game of the year last night against the Philadelphia 76ers. He's thrown out after 4 minutes because him and Dwight Superman Howard got in a little scuffle. And then Haslem gets into his face. And what happened to Superman? He ran off like Lois Lane, for crying out loud. Good look. I like it. I like it a lot. All right. Let's get into the NFL. The big reveal, the schedule, PB. A lot of talk about that. But before we get into that, what do you think about all this talk down in Jacksonville about Tim Tebow being signed?
Yeah, I think it's fun. I mean, it's probably sell tickets for sure. I mean, but Jacksonville is just one of those teams they're just playing with it. It's kind of house money at this point. Like, why not?
What blows my mind is all these talk shows, Get Up and First Take and yada, yada, yada. They're all saying it's horrible. First of all, he has to make the team. He has a guaranteed spot, right? Yeah. So he's going to make the team. He's a pretty good athlete. I think he can handle his own block. And the kid was unbelievable in the weight room when he was at the University of Florida. Some of the videos you saw of him benching like 500 pounds, squatting 700 pounds. I think he can handle his own blocking. I'll say this. There's no tight end tree out there. If there was a tight end tree, you could just go pick an all-pro tight end off of. The Patriots would not have sucked last year at tight end, for Christ's sakes, with nobody that could catch the ball. So you know what? They must have taken a shot and see if the guy can play. If he can't, he doesn't make the roster. Big deal, right?
I mean, he tried out with the Patriots, back in the day, and he didn't make the team, but he showed up at camp. So he does. But, like you said, tight ends are not a dime a dozen in the NFL for sure. And, after your top 2 or 3, there's a pretty big drop-off. Oh. As the Patriots signed in the offseason, Jonju Smith and the other guy there.
Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, right.
And Hunter Henry, they're no guarantees. I mean, they're not even guaranteed top half tight ends going into the season. Who knows, right?
Plus, can you even name another tight end on the Jaguars roster?
No, I don't know if I can name it.
There you go. Case in point. All right, let's get into it. Tell me, what's your big highlights out of the schedule with the games we saw and when they're going to be played? What's your takeaways?
Well, of course, everyone's talking about Brady's return to Foxborough, Week 4, Sunday Night Football on NBC. I mean, that's got to be the game. I mean, everybody's just excited for that game. There's just going to be so much hype built around that. It's going to be Belichick versus Brady. Hey, forget about everything that happened last year. We're in a new year. What can the Patriots do to defend that offense? And how can their offense actually score on that defense? So, I mean, it's going to be a real big battle. Belichick's going to think he's inside Brady's head. He can get inside Brady's head. But I think Brady's going to overcome that. I mean, right now, if I had to pick that game, I'm picking the Bucs all day. But we'll see how the first 3 weeks of the season go.
I'm with you on that. I would probably pick the Bucs as well.
What other games?
Will this be bigger than the Tuna Bowl?
Oh, much bigger. What about the Bucs opening up against your Cowboys?
Yes, that was my other takeaway. I mean, I'm surprised the Cowboys are on opening night, but they're America's team, right? And of course, Bucs right now are the biggest thing, the Super Bowl winners. So that should be a good game. We'll see. We'll see if the defense from the Cowboys are really getting better with some of the picks they made and some of their offseason moves. I don't know. And then bringing in Dan Quinn to be the defensive coordinator. Who knows? But it should be a good game, exciting anyways. Probably a lot of points, right?
Let me ask you this. You think Micah Parsons sacks Brady in that game?
No.
Do you think he knocks him down?
No.
Do you think he hurries him?
He probably could, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
He'll do something.
All right, a couple hurries maybe. All right.
Yeah, he'll get a couple hurries. I think that if Tampa Bay, if everything goes well with training camp, which they didn't really have last year, that team's going to be locked and loaded. The only thing that will hurt them is injuries this year.
Yeah. Well, we also got we have the rematch of the Goff-Stafford trade. That should be an interesting game, right?
Yeah, Stafford, if he loses that game, all bets are off for LA this year. I'll say, what's a better one than that? Number 1 versus number 2 place this year.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you got Jacksonville against the Jets. That should be good.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
The Jets going to you got the Jets going to Carolina and Sam Darnold going up against his old team. That should be interesting. There's a lot
I will say, for me, the other 2 big takeaways, PB, is this. Washington Football Club or whatever they go by nowadays, they play the last 5 games of the year against NFC East only opponents. That's only been done one at a time. The 1995 Tampa Bay Bucks, if I'm not mistaken, actually. And the Cowboys, they play 4 of the last 5 against NFC East, 3 of them on the road. So that is unbelievable finish of the season, right? But with division opponents only, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And in a division where it doesn't matter because only one team's going to have 9 wins probably. So those are my takeaways. All right, let's get to the NHL. You got any other takeaways yourself before we do NHL?
No, just I can't wait for the season. I actually woke up the next morning and all my tickets came through on the app. So, yeah, I'm season ticket holder with the Dolphins, and they were all right there. So, it was just cool to see, and just knowing that as of now.
What is the marquee home game for the Dolphins this year?
Oh, they got the Ravens at home. That could be a pretty good, decent game. They're drawing both the Jets. Well, they play the Jets every year at home. The Giants, they got the Giants at home. That could be a pretty big draw. I'm just looking from an attendance and ticket resale value standpoint. Those are some.
Week 18, the Patriots come down there, right?
The Patriots come down in January 9th or something like that, right? Because the season's an extra week. So
yeah.
That'll be a good draw because everyone's want to come down from Boston in January to get away from the cold, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Maybe that'll be you. Maybe that'll be you, Z. Maybe you'll come down for that one.
Ooh, all right. Making a note of that. All right, let's get to the NHL playoffs. It starts tomorrow night. By the way, your Avalanche, they end up winning the President's Trophy. So I hate to say it, PB, that means they lose before they get to the finals.
Yeah, it does happen quite a bit, right? If you look at NHL historically. But still, I mean, the Bruins had it last year, right? And then they went into that crazy playoff system to get and all that, but reseeded themselves down. So yeah, the Avalanche and the Vegas Golden Knights were tied for that division. The Avalanche won on regulation overtime wins. They had more, so that's why they won that division. Those two teams have the 2 most points in the entire league. I've been saying since the beginning of the season, the 2 best teams in the NHL are both sitting in that division, the Avalanche and the Knights, which kind of sucks because it would be great to have them in the semifinals or finals, but that's impossible because only those teams can come out and make it to the Final Four. So that's going to be a tough one. But as far as my picks go, I do have Colorado taking care of St. Louis in probably pretty short order. If that could be a sweep, if not 5 games. And then I have Vegas taking Minnesota. But here's my maybe a little upset on that one. That series is going to go 7.
Okay.
7. It's going to tucker out the Golden Knights. Avalanche will get plenty of rest. So I do have the Avs, as I predicted at the beginning of the year, coming out of that division and also eventually going to the Cup.
Ooh, okay. All right. So you stick with the Avs. All right.
Sticking with the Avs. Do you have your projection for that division?
I'm only going to go with the finals.
Okay. All right. In the Canadian division, Toronto's going to play Montreal. Edmonton's going to play Winnipeg. By the way, out of those 8 teams that I've mentioned so far, you can go and listen to the PBnZ Sports Chaos Show from when the season started. I had all 4 teams making the playoffs there. I had all 4 teams in the Canadian division as well. 8 for 8 so far on my playoff predictions. So, hey, who knows hockey better than PB? All right.
Nice.
I got Toronto taking care of Montreal also in pretty short order. That should be a sweep or a 5-game series at best. I did have in my preseason picks Winnipeg winning that division and coming out of that division. I'm going to stick with my guns there. A little bit of an upset. I'm going to have Winnipeg over Edmonton. And then I'll eventually have Winnipeg also over the Toronto Maple Leafs coming out of that division.
I like Edmonton coming out of there.
All right. I do like Edmonton as well. If I had it right now, pick with money on it, I'd probably lay with Edmonton. But just because I picked Winnipeg at the beginning of the year, that's why I'm going with Winnipeg.
I got Edmonton. All right. What do you got next? Central?
Let's go ahead and do let's do Carolina is going to be playing the Nashville Predators, and then Florida's going to play Tampa Bay. By the way, are you shocked? Because you had Carolina and Tampa Bay earlier this year, 1 and 2, didn't you? And Carolina came out of nowhere, right? Yeah, I had Carolina. I had I had Tampa. I also had Florida making the playoffs there. This is one of my misses. Dallas, who missed it by 2 points over Nashville. If Dallas had won that fourth spot, I'd be 12 for 12 right now. But I'm 11 for 12 based on the fact that Nashville made it in there. So you got Carolina, Nashville. Carolina easily wins that series, again, potentially in short order.
Yeah.
And then you have Florida, Tampa Bay, which could be the best 7-game series in the first round. That's going to be a hell of a matchup. Tampa Bay is defending Stanley Cup champions. I love the way the Panthers are playing. They're coming in hot. They've won 6 in a row. They beat the Blue Jackets tonight. I went 5-1. I watched that game in person with Spencer Knight's NHL debut. Fun game to watch. Florida's playing well. They're well coached with Dan Quenneville. I like that team. And you know what? Even though I picked in the preseason Tampa Bay to come out of that division, I have Florida winning that series. I have the
Wow.
Panthers. And I'm also going to take.
I think Tampa Bay. First of all, they got Hedstrom's coming back. They got Stamkos coming back, right? And the third guy who hasn't played in a while is coming back as well. I think they're going to be very healthy. I think it'll be the best series. You're correct. I believe you. I'm with you with that. It's the best series of that. But I think Tampa Bay ends up pulling that one out.
Yeah, and you know what? Again, I hope they do in the sense that I picked them going into the season. So, but this is one team I'm not sticking with. I don't like the way they've been playing as of late. And Florida's offense is amazing. And if their goaltending holds up, they're going to be hot going through. So I'm going to take Florida to not only beat Tampa Bay, but then to upset Carolina as well and come out of that division.
All right.
And then we have the Bruins division.
The East, last but not least, the East.
The East. And I'm going to have both of the lower seeded teams winning here. Big upset. I got the Islanders taking care of the Penguins in the first round. And I also have the Bruins defeating the Capitals. I did not predict that at the beginning of the year. I said Washington would – I had Washington-Boston meeting in that first round, but I had Washington winning. I just really like the way the Bruins are finishing off this season.
BB, I'm with you. 1-4, the East is the best division in the playoffs right now, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. The Islanders really tailed off a little bit, but I still think that they can come back and get their act together for the playoffs here and beat Pittsburgh. I'm not sold on Pittsburgh. They're too top-heavy. But Bruins over the Capitals, and then I'm going to take the Bruins to come out of that division. By the way, my only other miss on the playoffs out of these 16 teams was the Flyers. I had the Flyers getting in, not the Islanders. I know you did have the Islanders. So out of the 16 teams that are in these playoffs, PB had 14 of them. So,
by the way, I'm taking the Islanders to win this one in the East. They're coming out of it.
Wow, as a 4 seed, huh?
As a 4 seed, yes.
All right. So I got Bruins. So we got Bruins, Panthers, Winnipeg, and the Avalanche. Those 4 teams would have to reseed now based on the way the playoffs work. So it depends on who wins. Then they look at your total points in the regular season, and then they'll reseed those teams 1 to 4. So based on that, I don't know who would be 1 and who would be 4 and who would be 2 and who would be 3 off the top of my head. I don't know. Do you know, Z? I'm guessing.
I know, but I will tell you this. My best pick is Vegas versus the Oilers.
Okay. I'm guessing Winnipeg would be the lowest and Colorado would be the highest. So Winnipeg would play Colorado. I have Avalanche there. Panthers, Bruins. Man, I got to go with the Bruins. I'm going to go Bruins, Avs, finals.
Oh, okay. All right.
And what do you got? What do you got?
I got Vegas Oilers.
All right. That'd be interesting because that could never happen in regular
correct
world,
right.
But in this world it can.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk a little NBA, PB. All right. First thing I got to say, NBA, I think, is really losing its appeal with the stars sitting out as much as they do with so-called injuries. It's just, I know there's low load management this year. Instead, they have hamstring injuries that last for 6 weeks as opposed to 6 days in the past. I'm very concerned about this, but we'll see as the playoffs start up. I got to tell you this right now. I don't think that any of these teams that had long-lasting injury sit-outs, Harden for the Nets, Lakers, Davis, Lakers, LeBron. I don't know if those guys can suddenly regroup and win a 7-game series. And right now, the Lakers may have to play a play-in game against Steph, who's the hottest player in the game right now, in a 1-game winner-take-all. I don't know, man. I don't know. What do you think? What's your thoughts right now?
Well, a lot can happen between now and the end of the season, even though it's only a couple, 3 games, whatever. But we don't know where those, 8 and 9s are going to end up and where those 7 and 10s are going to end up. But the way I have it playing out, I have Indy and Charlotte playing, and I have Boston and Washington playing, and I have both the Indiana Pacers and Boston winning those. Grab my plug. My computer's running out.
You can't be serious picking Boston. They have no prayer.
Well, against Washington, if they get a 7-10 matchup, Washington would have to beat them twice in a row.
No,
right?
I still think it'll happen. I don't see. I mean, right now the Celtics are so dysfunctional. It's unbelievable. Jaylen Brown is out. He's gone for the rest of the season. I think he's really the heart and soul of the team. I just don't see it happen. And you know what? Up here in Boston, we want them one and done. We're sick of them. We're done. They're just garbage.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have them getting in, but then, of course, if they do get in, they're going to have to face Brooklyn in the first round. So there they go. They'll probably lose that game in a sweep, or they'll lose 4-1 at best, right? So then you'd have Brooklyn against Boston. Philly would get Indiana. Milwaukee would get the Knicks, and Atlanta would get Miami. So I have Philly, Brooklyn, Milwaukee, and Miami winning those. Those are my final 4 in the East. Miami's playing some good basketball right now. They just took care of
I think they
back to back. They beat Philly last night. Yeah. And then I have
beat up Philly, and Philadelphia was 100% healthy for the first time in a while, and they absolutely crushed them.
Yeah. And I got Miami actually beating Philly in that next round, and I have that Milwaukee Brooklyn series is going to be good, man. I'm tempted to take Milwaukee. I probably should, but I just can't at this point. I just can't. So I'm going to go with a Brooklyn Miami East final.
Ooh, okay.
What do you got?
All right. Before I tell you my predictions, here is my biggest fear: that if the Nets, having so many of their star players out injured for as long as they have, or the Lakers having so many of their star players injured as long, can either one of those teams or both those teams can make the finals, the NBA is done. They can never play an 82-game season again. It makes it a farce. It's a joke. We should never pay for season tickets ever again if that happens, because it makes the NBA regular season irrelevant in my mind. So I'm praying to God that Brooklyn and Lakers don't make the finals. Having said that, my semifinals in the East is definitely the same as yours. I got the Heat playing the 76ers with the Heat winning. I got the Bucks playing the Nets, and God forbid the Bucks lose. They got to win. I'm picking the Bucks to win that one.
Okay, so you got who's in the final? Bucks and
Bucks against the Heat, and I'm going to take the Bucks to win it to go to the finals.
So you got Bucks Heat. I got Nets Heat. Okay.
All right. What do you got in the West?
Bucks, yeah, and a Nets Heat. You know what? You've sold me on it. I'm going to have the Nets out of it at this point. I'm going to put the Miami Heat in the NBA Finals.
It's not good for basketball if they make it to the final. I know they have great players, but when you don't play all season long, it's not fair to the fans. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say.
I agree with you. All right, that's why I'm taking the Heat. That's why I'm taking the Heat. So I got the Heat. You got the Bucks.
Yes. All right, West. What do you got?
All right, West. Utah's going to end up playing Golden State because Golden State will play Memphis in the play-in. Golden State will win that. You got the Lakers against San Antonio in the play-in. I got the Lakers winning that, which would then end up giving us Utah against Golden State. Phoenix would play the Lakers. Clippers play Portland, and Denver would play Dallas. Man, I love the way Phoenix. You might remember from the beginning of the season with PBnZ. I picked the Phoenix Suns to finish second or third, I believe, in the East, and here they are, right in that
West.
spot.
Yeah.
In the West. I'm sorry. I want to take them so bad over the Lakers, but when LeBron's back and LeBron's going, it would suck, right? Because you'd have a 2. The Phoenix would be the 2 playing the 7. And to your theory and to your point, I really, really want to say in my heart, I'll be rooting for the Suns to win that series, but I can't not take the Lakers. I'm just going to take the Lakers in that series. I will take Utah. I'll take the Clippers over Portland, and I'm going to take Denver over Dallas. And by the way, I think the Denver-Dallas series will be the best first-round series in the playoffs.
I'm with you on that. And by the way, that means Clippers play the Lakers next then after that.
Yeah, Clippers and Lakers, and you'd have Utah and Denver. And I'm going to take I got a Denver Clippers final in the West.
Whoa! I'm with you. I get the same thing. Utah, Denver, with Denver winning that series, and Clippers, Lakers, with the Clippers winning it in 6. And by the way, I really would like to pick Utah because they've had a great season year round, but I had Denver back in our prediction show coming in 2nd. I know they're coming in 4th. I think, and by the way, I thought they made one of the better deals at the trading deadline to get where they are, to get on a good hot streak. So that's why I like Denver. And by the way, I think Jokic is probably the MVP.
Yeah, he should be. He should be.
And then, by the way, then after that, I got the Clippers winning. I would love to see Denver win it and go, but I think the Clippers have too much star power, especially with playoff Rondo on the team now.
All right. So but we both have a Clippers Nuggets final, huh?
Clippers Nuggets semifinal. Yeah, conference final. Yes, correct. Right.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. So we have 3 out of the 4. The final 4 are the same because we both have the Heat, we both have the Clippers, we both have the Nuggets. So it's really, I got Brooklyn and you got the Bucks.
Yeah.
So you got a Bucks Clippers final.
Yes.
All right. I'm gonna go with a Heat Clippers final.
And again, I only want this to happen because it cannot be Lakers and Nets with those guys sitting out. It just, the regular season's over. You can never play 82 games ever again if that happens.
Yeah, I'd agree with you.
All right. PBnZ Sports Chaos. Good show, PB. We got more to talk about next week after the first round of the playoffs. Fans, have a great weekend.
Yep. Tomorrow, Capitals Bruins on NBC. Make sure you're watching it.
They play Sunday too, right?
Yeah. Game 1 and game 2 this weekend. Go Bees.
Nice. All right. Have a great weekend, fans.